Ryan Young, Kama Jiu-Jitsu. Hope you're doing well. So I was just kind of talking with some students the other day about injuries that we've suffered in Jiu-Jitsu over the course of our training time. Oh, first of all, if it gets a little noisy, I apologize. It's about 9:30 at night on, August 11, which is a Sunday. And this is really the only free time I have this week to do any videotaping. But it's hot as hell. It's probably about 95 degrees outside right now, and there's a fan blowing right now, so hopefully this sound is coming in okay. I'm trying to talk loud so I can make sure you guys all hear it. I didn't feel like doing it in the car today, so I thought I'd just do it out here. But anyway, today's topic, injuries that have been suffered over the course of training. Now, I think I recounted once a while back when Master Dave and I were in Arizona, and we couldn't, in Sierra Vista, Arizona, there's nothing going on over there. We're in the hotel, we got up, and we wanted to go down to Starbucks and grab some coffee. Well, the nearest one was a mile away, mile or so, a little more maybe. Tried to call an Uber, nothing. Tried to call a Lyft, nothing. So we decided to hoof it over there. While we're walking, I'm walking, for a moment I was behind Dave, and I noticed that when he walks, it looks a little labored in the way he walks. He doesn't have a flowing walk. I wondered if that's the case with me as well, because I know he's had some knee injuries over the years, and I had asked him, I said, hey Dave, I said, tell me this, with all the injuries that you have sustained over the years, if we could go back to 33 years ago when you started, and I could tell you 33 years ago, this journey that you're about to embark on is going to result in a number of injuries to your body. Knees, shoulders, neck, hip, all kind of stuff. Elbows, hands. What would you do? He says, knowing what I know now, I would do it all over again. I thought about it and I said, you know what? Same thing with me. It's weird because when I was growing up, I had a single mom growing up. I saw my dad, so it was just they were divorced then, but I lived with my mom. My dad lived on the other side of the island. My mom would not let me play contact sports. When I wanted to do martial arts, she had me do judo, not karate, because she didn't want me punching and getting punched. So I guess she thought getting hit by the ground was better, so I did judo. And she let me do wrestling. She didn't let me do football, but I decided in middle school to try out for the intermediate school football team, and she says, you can try out, but if you make the team, you can't play. So I had to quit that, right? But when I got old enough, when I was in college, 1989, I was 19 years old, I guess, started jiu-jitsu, and I'd come home busted up. And, she'd kind of, I protected you all these years, and now you come out like this. But the thing is, you all know, just like I do, the injuries are they're not part of the fun, because they suck. They're just part of, their cost of doing business in jiu-jitsu. The time off, it's hard to do because you kind of want to train the whole time. But you know that it's necessary for you to be able to go back. And I can tell you guys this, those of you who are suffering injuries now, heal your injuries. Don't worry about the time off, because really, if you learned right, you will not forget the jiu-jitsu that you know now. In fact, what happened with me is every time I take a break, and a lot of times my breaks weren't injury-based, they might have been just because life got in the way. And that's another thing too. If you have other things in life that are more important, family, your children's got games that you want to attend, by all means do it. Earning a living, right? All those things have to come before jiu-jitsu. Take that time that you need off, but when you come back, just know that if you got up to, say, at least a good blue belt level, you're not really going to forget all that much. And it might take you a month or so to kind of get your timing back. After your body starts moving, you're going to go, oh yeah, I remember this. It'll all come back. Your body, if you got everything into your central nervous system, you will know it. So if you get an injury, and I'm just saying this because two of my students just mentioned to me that their knees are kind of hurting. In fact, one of them I heard, pretty loud pop. His third injury in the same knee. I'm thinking whatever ligament it is that he injured is kind of holding on by a couple of fibers. He'll probably need surgery soon, but that's just kind of how it goes. Those of you who are just kind of wondering, should I get started in jiu-jitsu, know this, there are going to be a lot of injuries. Especially, you'll get a lot of injuries in your early years, but what happens as you get into your older years, you'll find that a lot of them are just wear and tear items that you'll feel. You may not have gotten any injury, but you're just going to feel your body's kind of worn and torn. But you will be in better overall health by training continuously than you would have been had you not. That makes sense, right? The injuries, at least for me and for Dave, have been well worth it. In knowing what we do now, we would both do it all over again. Because when I look at myself now, you know, I do kind of ache a little bit here and there, but by and large, I'm in great health. I don't have any pressure, you know, any high blood pressure. I'm not on any kind of medications. I can't say the same for a lot of people that I went to high school with. A lot of them are overweight and they're very sedentary. They're on medication. They don't have any kind of activity that they do that they've continued on through life. And jiu-jitsu is one of those things you can continue on through life. Now, here's a funny thing that I heard about injuries. You know, remember a while back I did a video on cauliflower ear about how, I think I made a joke about it. I said, you know, I'd tell students who are, you know, oh, my ear, you know, let me get it fixed and all that. I said, don't worry about it. You know, they're like, oh no. I go, you know, don't train with it. Don't make it worse, but don't fret about it, you know, about the headgear and all that. And you know, I'm not giving anybody who wears headgear any problems, because I wore headgear for 10 years. I only stopped wearing it because I forgot my headgear. I had already replaced 2 or 3 of them. And back then you couldn't just order them up on Amazon. I had to go to Wrestling One in Huntington Beach, and I didn't live anywhere near there. So I had to go and drive over there, or I had to order it via mail, and that was a long time ago. Things were a lot harder to do then than it is now. It wasn't as easy to get one. I forgot mine in Hawaii. I just started, I couldn't not train. So I trained, and then, you know, that's how my ears started to get a little bit messed up, but it wasn't that bad, really. When people have it, I tell them, don't worry about it. I said, you know how to get out of headlocks, so we don't have too much of that in our school. We get a little bit, but it's not really that bad. And the people that do things against the way I tell them to, then yes, they will sustain that type of injury, and it'll get pretty bad. You know, I used to make a joke about it. I say, you know, don't worry about it, chicks dig it, right? And you know, this is for you men, you know, 97% of you, so 97 out of 100 of you watching my video are men. I was watching Joe Rogan just this week, an older episode with Whitney Cummings, comedian, right? Because she's a woman, not comedian. And she was talking about how she had a primal attraction to men with scars, whether it be cauliflower ears or scars on the face or whatever. And she said she hated herself for it because they are ugly, but they're attractive, right? And she said she termed it as proof of battle. And scars are, you know, proof of injury from battle. And I guess that's kind of a primal thing, in that it was for the whole survival of the human race. You know, a man who has gone through battle and has proof of it has shown that he's come through battle, which means he's more likely to survive and take care of you and your children, right? Well, his children. And so that's kind of an interesting story, and I thought it was an interesting thing I wanted to share with you guys. There's a jiu-jitsu master local to here, who's a friend of some friends, and who I met once at a party, very good guy. And he was talking about how in Brazil, these guys are doing ridiculous things, like close pinning their ears like this, you know, fold their ears and close pin it so they can injure their ear, so they can have a cauliflower ear, so they can look like they have that proof of battle without having gone into battle, right? Just thought it was a funny thing. I guess they figured it out, right? That chicks dig it, right? It is kind of funny. It reminds me when I was younger, the whole thing that growing up in Hawaii, girls like the surfers. So I remember this one guy. He was not a kid. I was in college and I worked at the Hilton Hawaiian Village parking cars, and he was an older guy. He was in his 30s by then, working as a parking valet, right? What he would do is he bought himself a surfboard leash, not a surfboard, but a leash. And he would go lie out on the beach before he would go to work at the beach at the Hilton Hawaiian Village, and he'd put the leash on his ankle, and he'd go lie out in the sun so he could get a tan line on his ankle, making like he surfs. So that's like proof of surfing, right? You know, just get a leash. It reminds me of these kids that pinch their ears and hold it down with a clothespin to injure it so they can have the cauliflower ear. At any rate, just wanted to share that story with you. Thought it was funny. With regard to injuries, just realize they're gonna be there. If you haven't gotten injured yet, just keep training. You will. But don't despair. You will not lose your jiu-jitsu. Just go ahead and recuperate yourself, let your body heal up, and then go back and train. Remember, hurting is not bad. Being injured is. Do not train when you're injured, and train through the hurt. So if you're hurt, don't give yourself any excuses, right? But if you're injured, then of course, give your body rest. That's when your body says, time to rest. Your body's tapping out and your body's saying, let me rest for a bit. Anyway, that's all I got for you. Take care of yourself. Try not to be injured, but if you do, don't worry about it. Happy training. Bye-bye now. Sup, Rusty?